And Iran. I'm Imran Khan. Here are the latest developments. Iran names Mujtaba Khamenei to replace his father, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, as the country's new supreme leader. There have been more explosions across Tehran hours after the US and Israel attacked oil facilities, causing toxic smoke across the Iranian capital. And Israel carries out new strikes in Beirut's southern suburbs. The Lebanese government says more than 500,000 people have been forcibly displaced. And a seventh US soldier is confirmed killed a day after President Trump paid tributes at a ceremony honoring soldiers who died in the conflict. Iran has named Mujtaba Khamenei as its new supreme leader. It comes just a week after the killing of his father, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in an Israeli airstrike. The supreme leader is Iran's highest political and religious authority. He's chosen by the Assembly of Experts, consisting of 88 clerics elected by the public every 8 years. Iranian officials have rejected the US president's push to be involved in the selection of the next leader. They've insisted only Iranians can decide the future of their country. There were some scenes of celebration as the announcement was made. Crowds already gathered for a religious occasion in the southern city of Abadan and chanted in support of Mujtaba Khamenei, pledging allegiance to their supreme leader. Pro-government supporters have been out on the streets every night since the death of Ali Khamenei. Now we have correspondents in Doha, Amman, Washington, D.C., Tehran, Beirut and Kuala Lumpur. Mohammed Val is in the Iranian capital for us. Now, the US and the Israelis have already threatened to kill the new next supreme leader. So how much of his election is seen as an act of defiance by the regime, Mohammed?
Imran, that's exactly what the Iranians meant by electing the new supreme leader amid the conflict and under bombardment everywhere in Iran. There is no place that's safe. There's nobody safe now. So the country has decided, the leadership of the country has decided to not delay this process any longer. But it is in less than 10 days. That's an act of defiance, and it's an act of defiance also because US President Donald Trump, who is leading this war, has said that he will not be happy with the election of this particular man. He described him as a lightweight, and he said that he himself, as US President, would like to have a saying in the election of the new supreme leader of Iran. For the Iranians, that's a red line. The Iranians are sending a message by this election of a new supreme leader that it is Iran that decides its own fate, that no foreign power, no matter how powerful it is, can dictate what the Iranians should do in terms of their political future and so on. So, I mean, and in consolidation of this decision, almost every political body and every security, every military component of the government has expressed complete support for this election, including the president, the parliament, the Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, the Basij, the paramilitary body, Supreme National Security Council, National Police, Ministries of Defense and Intelligence. So far, all these bodies have already expressed their support. So that's another message of unity here in Iran, saying to the outside world, and particularly to the powers that are attacking Iran, that their hope of causing an immediate disintegration of the country after the decapitation that happened on the first day of the war is not going to happen. The country is united, succession is assured now, continuity also of the same political ideology, the same power and so on. And they consider this a great defeat already that has been registered by Iran, scored by Iran against its enemies.
Now, Mohammed, normally what the new supreme leader would do was appear to the nation and set out his goals, his ideas and continuity from the last supreme leader. But this is a country that's being attacked every single day. So before we get into the attacks, just talk us through what you expect to see in the next coming days. Will there be that full address to the nation, do you think, or is it too difficult?
Imran, at least this is what people here are expecting. They are expecting to see their new supreme leader. We know that he hasn't been in the public scene very often since for decades now, since he became an active member of the political body. He was before that he was a fighter in the Iran-Iraq war, and after that he was said to be very close to his father. He was the gatekeeper of the late supreme leader of the revolution. So he knows everything. He knows all the components of the political system. But the people who don't know him really very much are the general public, and those are the people who are waiting to see his face and hear his voice and hear him address the nation, reassuring the nation that everything is under control and so on. That hasn't happened until now. For some observers, it is strange. The expectation was that immediately after the announcement of his election, there should be a ready address, either by video or by any other means, to the general public. That hasn't happened so far. We know that the situation is very precarious in the country, and there might be very real difficulties in channeling that communication to the public and making sure that it doesn't compromise his safety. Israel has promised to kill him. The Americans are after him also. So that's why probably this hasn't happened so far. But there is that expectation, and I think, and many people here think, that it is a condition for him to establish his image and to assert his authority, and for people to connect with him, to hear what he's going to say and how he's going to manage the situation. That's something that is now a matter of wait and see for everyone here in Iran.
I mean, let's talk about the reason why he can't publicly appear live on television. It's because Iran is being bombarded. Just take us through the latest attacks that have taken place.
Well, that's right, Imran. As I said, I mean, it's a very unique circumstance in which this new supreme leader has been elected. How is he going to address the nation, at least live? That's what should happen in a normal situation. He should be live in a public square, talk to everyone. They should see him, touch him, probably, and so on. But that's not going to happen. Nobody expects this to happen. But what people are expecting to happen is for him to appear somehow indirectly in a message, in a televised message, a video message, so for them to see him, to understand how he thinks and so on, and for him to assert his image in the country, as I said, and in politics and so on, and show his vision, his program and so on. We understand that it's going to be a program of war. He's already known to be a tough man, to be a to be on the side of the conservatives.
Mohammed, I understand that the communications are very difficult and you're having difficulty hearing me, but I did ask you about the attacks that are taking place in the country. Just give us a roundup of everything that's happened in the last 12 hours.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear your question clearly. So, yes, the attacks over the last several hours. A few hours ago, we had the last blast. Then there was a lull that continues until now. We don't know, if we don't have information about the other parts of the country. But Tehran itself has been under attack throughout the night. Every hour or two, we hear a loud explosion or two, but we don't know the targets, and we don't have specific information about the impact of those blasts. And this has been also the case yesterday, even after the attacks on the oil facilities and so on. Qom was one of the cities where a bombardment took place. The governor of Qom said it was the target was a residential building. We don't know whether that was an assassination or a targeting of a specific government member and so on, but there is no information, there is no clarity about that. What I can confirm here is that the war is continuing here in Iran, on Iran. The bombardment is continuing, and that Tehran is at the center of that situation.
Mohammed Val there, live for us from Tehran. Let's cross to Rory Challens, who's in Amman. Now, Rory, Israel was already planning on killing anyone that was going to take over the supreme leader of Iran, but Mujtaba Ali Khamenei is seen as a serious act of defiance against both Israel and against the US. So this is going to be a matter of urgency now for Israel, right?
So it was Israel Katz, the defense minister, who back on Wednesday made that threat. I'll read some of it out now to you. any leader selected by the Iranian regime to continue leading the plan for Israel's destruction will be a certain target for assassination, Israel Katz said, no matter his name or where he hides. So if we're taking the Israelis at their word there, they are going to be hunting him like they hunted his father. They'll be looking for any opportunity that they can take. They'll be analysing all of their intelligence, whether that's human intelligence, whether that's signals intelligence or whatever. Or to put it another way, the person sitting at the top of the tree has changed, but it's still the same tree for the Israelis. The Speaker of the Knesset, Amir Ohana, put it this way: changing the person does not change the nature of the Iranian regime, and will deal with the new leadership in the same matter. But behind all of this, I think the Israelis are going to be looking at what this means, what it tells them about the health of the Iranian system, because basically the Iranians are in a fight for their existence at the moment, the leadership there is, and they have opted for a very clear continuity figure, very literally, in that they have gone for the son of the former leader, and that tells something to the Israelis. It shows that the revolution, which had swept away a monarchy, a hereditary monarchy, has now chosen in a hereditary way, and that could mean that there is decay within the system. The Israelis might be looking for that, and it could give them an opportunity to exploit if they're right in that analysis. If the people feel that this is something that gives their leadership less legitimacy, then that might be something that the Israelis can exploit, and they'll be looking for that.
But Shia Islam, Rory, is very hierarchical. It's likely that this man has been actually groomed to continue on, as you say. So it's not much of the idea that this was the son, so therefore it was his right. There is an assembly of experts, 88 people, it's worth pointing out here, that actually chose him. And the case study here, Rory, is Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a similar organisation in structure, not size, in structure. And the Secretary General was chosen very quickly. And then when it was killed again, there was a new one. Naim Qassem is the new Secretary General of Hezbollah, and he has survived Israeli attack. And that is something that the Iranians are going to be looking at. But the question I want to ask you now, and I understand this, and I keep saying this to reiterate, there is severe censorship in Israel when it comes to Iranian attacks. Israeli citizens are being arrested if they video the sites of Iranian attacks. And information, particularly video, it's very difficult to get out of Israel. But there are still attacks continuing on Israel, right? Bring us up to date.
Yeah, we have had several rounds of strikes, or at least attempted strikes, being launched from Iran since the news came out about who was going to be the next supreme leader. One woman has been injured in the area south of Tel Aviv, but the most damage was caused a few hours ago, back on Sunday afternoon local time, when there was an attack that came in. It caused the severe injury of one man in his 40s, again in the Tel Aviv area, in Petah Tikva, which is not far outside of Tel Aviv. There were 5 injuries reported there, 12 impact sites across central Israel, and the police said that suggested that this had been a cluster munition. And we've seen cluster munitions being used by the Israelis several times over the last few days. But this comes despite the fact that the Israelis and the Americans have been claiming that they have been smashing Iran's weapons facilities, its missile capabilities over the last few days, and yet the strikes carry on coming, and that is despite the fact that Israel is hugely protected. You have 2 US warships off the coast of Israel who are shooting down Iranian missiles. You have countries under the flight paths of those missiles when they come over, like Jordan, where I am, who are shooting them down as well. Israel has perhaps the best air defense system in the world, but they're still getting through, and these attacks are still continuing.
Rory Challen's there live for us from Amman. Now, John Hendren is in Washington, D.C. for us. John, Donald Trump wanted to pretty much choose the next supreme leader of Iran himself, or at least the leader of Iran himself. That didn't happen. The Iranians have defied him. Has he made any comments?
Well, Imran, he has just made some comments to Fox News. He had made it clear ahead of time that he did not consider Mujtaba Khamenei an appropriate leader. He not only had he called him a lightweight, but he said he was not acceptable and that he won't last long without U.S. approval. That's something he said about any leader there. And Trump told Fox, "I'm not happy about it." A brief comment, but it just tells you that he's long held this view. And the White House clearly looks at this as an act of defiance. As you'd mentioned, Trump had said that he thinks he gets a say in who the next leader of Iran is, and Iran is clearly not going to cooperate in the same kind of way that Venezuela did with Trump. And the Pentagon is now suggesting that Iran is under a misapprehension as to where its military strength is at the moment. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, told CBS whether they know it or not, they will be combat ineffective. They will surrender. So this has clearly gone from a battle on the ground in Iran and in neighboring countries to a battle in the public relations sphere, where the U.S. is insisting that it has control. Iran is remaining defiant and saying, no, it has control.
Talking about the public sphere, I'm going to split this question into two parts. You can answer it once. You've got the public perception, right, of the Iran war, which seems to be at odds with what Donald Trump thinks. He thinks this is very popular war. But as we saw from the Iraq war, the more dead bodies that arrive of American soldiers, the more opinion changes. And one more US soldier has been confirmed dead. So is that going to make a difference? Just tell us the details and then answer that question.
I think cumulatively, the more American troops that end up dying in what most Americans clearly believe is a war of choice, the higher the price is for the Trump administration and the higher political price his party, the Republican